and welcome to the Friday edition of the 24 Inside programme, your backstage pass to everything behind the scenes off track here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. And we've already had qualifying one session on Wednesday and two sessions on Thursday, and therefore we know who's on pole position. Here are the news highlights. A nice relaxed atmosphere for the start of qualifying 2 on Thursday afternoon. Blue skies and about 28 degrees of air temperature greeted the cars, but storms were expected at any moment as the clouds begin to form. So a huge rush to get out to circuit to try and improve your lap times. Already the Porsche were on pole position of Neil Jarni, with Audi's 4th, 5th and 6th positions, the 8 car being the first of those. But at the start of the light session on Thursday, there were no real improvements. Setup changes, yes. A few niggles with the cars. Toyota having a lacklustre performance, number 1 and number 2 on the front of their cars from winning the World Endurance Championship last year, but the performance of the car here at Le Mans, not what it was 12 months ago. Ferrari number 51 doing a lovely job battling with the Aston Martins at the top of the GTE Pro field. Porsche and Corvette also involved in that battle. A light spin into the gravel for one of our LMP2 contenders. Rebellion Racing having a torrid qualifying session. The 13 car having an accident into the barriers and some accident damage which brought out one of our red flags. We had at least 2 during the session. Sebastian Buemi having a nice spin down at Indianapolis. The cars seeming very difficult to drive at low speed with the new torque coming from the electric motor. Over 1,000 horsepower then being delivered to the rear wheels. A quiet day for Nissan. A few improvements. The 22 car getting up into the top 15 positions. But still plenty of work to do as they're about 20 seconds per lap off the pace. The Greaves Motorsport Gibson Nissan didn't do much running in qualifying run after a crash and therefore had plenty of laps to rack up, as did the 38 car. Nissan 21 was the slowest of the 3, and then this huge accident for Jan Magnussen in the Corvette CR7 brought out the second of our red flags. Seemingly a breakage here, straight on into the wall, and it took quite a while for Jan to get out of the car, helped by the medical team here at Circuit de la Sarthe. That will be the end of the session and the end of the weekend for Corvette 63.
Current session will not be resumed.
So to the significant qualifying 3, still no rain, still expected to come. Nicolas Lapierre on pole position for LMP2. And this was a time where there was potential improvements as the track rubbered up. The air temperature stayed constant, but the track temperature decreased just a little bit. The art car there of Aston Martin, the 97 machine, not on pole position, although the lead Aston Martin in the stable. And some minor improvements up and down the field for other LMP2 runners as well.
So we've done the change, rear is a bit lower, and same set, let's try to do 4 flying laps.
So plenty of setup changes still, even in qualifying 3 for many of the runners. Track time limited due to red flags. And therefore, most of the top contenders focusing on their race pace rather than qualifying runs. It meant that the times set at the very start of qualifying 1 on Wednesday afternoon could well be the ones that dictate the grid. Aston Martin 99 was on the pole position for GT Pro. 12 months ago, that car didn't even make the start after crashing in qualifying too. A fairy tale story if they were able to hold on. On pole position for GT Am, also Aston Martin. But as the session drew on, not a huge amount of improvements from our top runners. Porsche 1-2-3, Audi 4-5-6, Toyota 7-8. But then the Nissans up behind the Rebellions and the CLM Colin Collez car. Mark Webber jumping aboard at the end of the session, potentially to go for one last try. Patrick Dempsey helping his teammate into his Porsche. A quiet day for the GT Porsches, whilst the LMP1 cars stole the show. Olivier Beretta slowly into the barrier. He was one dramatic off. This, another. A very fast spin through the S's for the local team. But then this, the most dramatic moment. Alex Kapadia on fire down the Mulsanne straight. And could that be the end of the weekend for this particular car? A long red flag ensued. Then the 41 machine shed bodywork down at the S's. But for the top contenders, it was time to relax. KCMG Matt Howson looking like he would be on pole position in LMP2. However, the story was all about Porsche taking pole position in LMP1. The top step with Neil Jarney taking the time. There's no doubt that the race is going to be a battle between the Porsche 919 and the Audi R18, that's for sure, and maybe we'll see Toyota involved too. All of those 3, 4, all the top teams in LMP1 are running Michelin tyres, one of the most important parts of any race car, the speed at which the car goes, and Michelin develop specific tyres for each specific machine. Not only that, of course, they have to provide slick, wet, and intermediate tyres for all the LMP1 cars and many of the GT cars as well. So, naturally, we went and spoke to them.
Well, you know, Le Mans is one of the most famous races for the whole year, and it's very important for Michelin to be here. I would say it's even natural because the spirit of Le Mans is very aligned with the philosophy of Michelin, which is come and test your product in the most difficult environment so you can prove the quality of your product and in our case of our tires. So we've been working with all the main teams during the whole season, during the winter, just to make sure that we are ready, and that's the weekend to show it now. What's very important is to have total trust, and that's what we do. We've been working with many years with all the main teams. And I have to say that, you know, the 24 hours start for us, the next one starts on Monday. As soon as the race is finished, we're going to analyze all the different data and try to see what can be even better. So we're going to do that during the rest of the year. Inter-season is very important during the winter, just to make sure that we understand correctly the feedback of the team as a driver, and then we will propose different new solutions so everything is ready for the race. Each technician dedicated for the team is going to give us some information, but some is shared between everybody and some information are really only for the engineers. That's point number one. Point number two is that we're going to try to develop a specific tire for each team, but at the end of the day, each team can try the different solutions, so we show that we are not giving a silver bullet to only one team. But also what's very important is we want to make sure, since we are putting some very high technology in the tire, that the tire is not, you know, just going around and being potentially understood by other tire manufacturers. So we, as a matter of fact, we rent a tire, we don't sell a tire to the team, so the tire needs to come back to Michelin. And what you have to know is that in the contract between the teams there is a clause, a specific clause, which is that if they lose a tire, if one tire doesn't come back to Michelin, there is a penalty of €1 million. And by that we are showing that we are pretty serious about our technology.
Just a few hours away from Paris is the town of Le Mans, and of course Paris known as a fashion capital of the world and also a very glamorous place. So at Le Mans this year, for the first time, we have a special pavilion dedicated to the women and the fashion of the world. If you take a wander around the village, we are now in the Pavilion de Femme.
Mesdames, Messieurs, chers amis, bienvenue au Pavillon des Femmes. Je suis très heureux de pouvoir vous accueillir dans ce nouvel espace créé spécifiquement pour l'édition 2015 des 24 heures du Mans.
There are a lot of women that come here to Le Mans who are not interested in watching the race for 24 hours. So we created this area, firstly so they can relax and participate in various activities, but also to meet women who are involved in motorsport and who will be able to come and share their experience.
Madame Vernet, you're a very glamorous driver. What is it like to have this pavilion here at the 24 Hour of Le Mans? I come here every year because I'm a member of the Drivers Club. It really is the highlight of my year, so I feel privileged to be here. So tell us, what's just behind us? That's the car I competed in 1977 with Leila Lombardi, who was an incredible female driver. She was the only one to have scored points on the World Formula One Championships. You have to believe that everything is possible, that if we really want it and we're passionate, we can do what we love. I was fortunate enough to live my dream, and participating in the 24 hours was a part of that. It's a goal in itself. You have to go for it. You have to take a chance. I specifically asked if there would be screens, because without screens, I wouldn't have come. And there we go. It works. It's great. Have you had any treatments yet? No, not yet. I haven't had the time, but we're going to.
Faced with unpredictable weather, how do you keep danger at bay? Today, Michelin creates Cross Climate, the first tyre able to cope with unexpected weather thanks to its revolutionary performances. With the Michelin Cross Climate innovation, arm yourself for every weather condition. Michelin, a better way forward.
Why this watch? This watch has seen machines perform poetry, and memories come rushing back. It has witnessed man test his will and the laws of physics. It has decided fates by thousandths of a second and seen a champion knighted. It doesn't just tell time, it tells history.
Welcome back to the 24 Inside programme here for the Le Mans 24 Hours, and we are now going to talk about the teams behind the cars. We see the cars on track, we sometimes even see the paddock with the trucks. Look at the old 1960s machine here behind me from Ferrari, but we never see too much into the garages, and we have Dave Spitzer with us on the team this weekend to show us exactly what happens behind the scenes.
So here we are on the famous Le Mans pit lane. Fans know these images very well. On the pit lane, the cars are coming at a controlled speed. They're headed towards their garages for service, maybe fuel and tires, even sometimes inside the box for extra service. But there's another side that you might find interesting. What are they doing in these little boxes out here? What's going on? So this is where the race control happens for each team. The engineers, the team leaders, they'll be here receiving information from their pits about the condition of the cars. They'll be receiving on these screens information from race control all about the racetrack. They will certainly have excellent weather. And this is where the engineers and the leadership of each car sit together to make decisions. When do we pit? When do we take tires? What's going to happen next? What do we tell the drivers? How do we advise? How do we control the race? It all happens right here on pit lane. This is where many decisions are made.
We're standing outside the high-tech facility that is the medical centre here at Le Mans, and the ambulance is preparing to look after 250,000 fans around the race weekend. But of course, on track, we have 165 drivers that also need looking after, and at Le Mans, we have a very special medical car to do that job.
We have 65 doctors, around 70 nurses, and 250 emergency workers, plus a radiologist, a psychiatrist, and a cardiologist. So it's a very, very big team. We have 5 safety stations in total. Each station is equipped with a medical car, a first responder, and several nurses. There's also an extractor who is specialized in hybrid cars. Just behind, a car reserved only for those who are in charge of extracting the driver. Right there is an ambulance to transport the driver, and the last car is equipped to fight any fire or potential entrapment. In case of an accident, as I'll be in the race control tower with the course director, my boss, we'll see any accident on the big screens. Using the replay, we'll analyze it to see if we have to intervene. If we have a doubt, we'll push a button to communicate with the safety station closest to the accident, and we can send the necessary vehicles to the accident.
The most famous part of the week here in Le Mans is the Circuit de la Sarthe, the actual layout of the track. Why? Because for over 90 years, the basic layout hasn't changed. One particular part of the track that hasn't changed at all is the stretch from Tête Rouge down to Mulsanne on public national roads called Les Des Unaudières. And we now can meet that part of the track with Corvette driver Oliver Gavin.
Hello, my name is Oliver Gavin. I drive for Corvette Racing, and this is my 15th time here racing at the Le Mans 24 Hours. Okay, here I am on the Unaudière. This part of the track is very fast. It is a place that you can maybe have a little bit of time to look at all your instruments, maybe have a little bit of a breather, but also prepare yourself for the first Mulsanne chicane coming up. It's a very, very important part of the track. It's high speed, takes a lot of concentration, it's very intense, but it's also a lot of fun. The first time I raced here in 2001, it was very, very wet. It was raining for 18 of the 24 hours. This part of the circuit there was rivers, there was a lot of standing water. It was treacherous. It was aquaplaning. You had to really be focused. It was one of the parts of the track that is the fastest, but it's also the most dangerous. You could very easily crash just going in a straight line. So it was a very intense part of the circuit for us through 2001. And it was a very big preparation for me for all of my years coming here. Be there on the 13th of June for the Le Mans 24 Hours and to follow and support Corvette Racing. Also follow us on social media, #LM24.
So that's it for the Friday edition of the 24 Inside programme. The drivers have spent the day doing PR events up at the parade in town, and now we'll return back to the Winnebagos behind us for a well-earned rest before focus on the race from about midday on Saturday as the preparations continue before the start of the race. Tomorrow on Saturday we will be live from the plateau in the paddock with special guests and features throughout the 24 hours, so make sure you join us. But for all the on-track action, of course, you have to download the app with the live timing, with the live video and commentary, and all the special features that are being produced for your enjoyment. Get on there and we'll see you tomorrow.
Get it live and much more on the 24 Hours of Le Mans mobile app.
Defense is off, you know, yeah?
Yeah, copy that, Andre. Let's leave it on for the white on that.
24 Hours of Le Mans as you've never seen it. 24 Hours Inside is the event channel. Travel to the heart of the world's greatest endurance race. Go backstage and discover the stories that make the legend. Meet the actors and the fans. 24 Hours Inside, because the event is also all around the track. On your tablet, smartphone or PC.